3 years ago, several of us decided to run as counselors, and it became pretty apparent in the discussions with the community over that time that people wanted us to have a hard look at the airport, and said, why don't we have an airport? We didn't have an answer to that, but once we got hold of the reins, several of us got together to have a look at what the airport possibly had. It was a firm mandate set down by the electoral with no kind of predetermined outcome, but just what do we have? And through that, we formed the ADAC committee group, the people I just introduced you to, and the idea was to go have a look at the airport to see what we could possibly do there. But the main criteria, of course, was it can't cost the taxpayers anything. Well, it was costing the taxpayers something. I mean, you own 150 acres up here. That's a fairly significant asset base. I'm from real estate world, and when I think of 150 acres, I get pretty excited. But anyway, the airport first job was a quick assessment of what we had in terms of size, what the buildings were, the length of the runway. Really, I mean, there was reports beyond reports. There was boxes and boxes of cardboard filled with reports, but no one had any kind of actual summary of what our asset was up here. And essentially what we did was we hired a couple of companies and we started to drill down to survey the buildings and find who was on the property, who wasn't on the property, exactly the length of the runway. And we incorporated a company called Associated Engineers to determine whether this 2,400-foot strip could be expanded to something larger. And we heard from right off the beginning that if we were looking at something in terms of regular flight service here, we'd be needing something in the neighborhood of 4,000. So that really was one of the first things we had to do. Could we build a 4,000-foot strip?